Hey there, Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness, leading the movement for movement. And if you're ready now to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, head on over to autismfitness.com and register right now. Begin your coursework. Actually, before you start with that, let's talk about prompting and cueing and what we're doing once we have our athlete focused and actually performing an exercise. Oftentimes, questions that come into Autism Fitness or come directly to me are mostly about motivation. How do we motivate our athletes to participate? How do we motivate an athlete when they're getting off task? What I want to focus on right now, and you'll see a video in a couple minutes of one of my athletes, is what happens once our athlete is actually performing the exercise, in this case an overhead sandbell press, and we have to figure out, we have to do our coaching detective work of what is going to be the best intervention or the best prompt in terms of sustaining that performance, right? So our athlete has a baseline level of ability, and what we're there to do as a coach, as an instructor, as someone who is supporting that athlete, is provide actually the least amount of support that they need to be successful. However, the least amount of support is going to be based on what that athlete needs right now. So take a look at the opening of this video. Take a look at the first couple seconds. There are some highlights in here. And what I'm going to do after you get to see this is I'm going to take you through the thought process here when I'm coaching. So you've had a chance to look at Zeke there, and he's doing sandbell overhead presses. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. When he is focused, he's able to do 8 to 10 8-pound sandbell presses in a row, which is fantastic. We're going to get a good training effect from that. And you can see his control is pretty good also. What we're after here is figuring out how long that latency is going to be. Now, the latency is the space between repetitions. So you can see he'll do an overhead press and then he'll pause. And that pause is where we might want to introduce a prompt. And the question is, what type of prompt, right? So it's going to vary, and it's going to depend on what the athlete needs in that particular moment. Now, it's not to say that we don't have a plan. We always go in with a plan, and we want to be consistent with the type of prompt that we're delivering, so eventually we can fade it back. So we don't want it to be completely randomized. However, what that athlete needs in the moment is going to dictate what we're going to provide them with. So let's go further on in this video. So you saw there we have some options, or I had some options in that particular scenario. I can wait it out as he is ready again to press, or I can provide a gesture prompt. And really this is going to depend on two major factors. It's going to depend on that athlete in particular and their both adaptive and cognitive functioning, and that's something that we cover with our PAC profile methodology in our Autism Fitness certification. And it's also going to depend on what we're after, what the goal is for that particular exercise. Now, with an overhead press, we want less than maybe 3 or 4 seconds in between repetitions. That's kind of slow. And what we're after, earlier I mentioned training effect. We want that set of exercises, meaning that 8 to 10 repetitions, to have the desired physical effect for our athlete. It's not necessarily going to do it, going to have that outcome if the athlete is pressing too quickly, which we see a lot, or too slowly and hesitating in between repetitions. We're looking for that Goldilocks zone there. So take a look at the rest of the video, and you can follow along with my decision-making process here as a coach, where I am providing more of a prompt and where I'm fading it back a little bit because he's starting to get that flow and he's getting that rhythm of that overhead press. Is it an exact science? sometimes. We have to know where our athlete is at any particular moment. And it's also really important to know what is the baseline skill, and that's why we assess physical, adaptive, and cognitive skills before we address physical, adaptive, and cognitive skills, because we want to know how best we can support the athlete where they're at right now and continue on from there. So eventually I can fade my prompt back and the athlete needs as little support as possible to be completely independent and successful with that exercise. So check out the rest of this video. If you like this, if you found it useful, share it with others who might be ready to take on an athlete of their own. It might be working with athletes of their own already. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, you can start your level 1 right now. Once you register, you have access to your course curriculum, and then you get to join me live virtually for your hands-on practical best of both worlds. You get self-paced practice and a curriculum online, and then you get to join me virtually from wherever you are in the world to get the hands-on practice that you need and deserve to support your neurodiverse and autism athletes. Thank you for watching.